your host, Alan Titchmarsh.
Welcome to the Alan Titchmarsh Show. We've a cracking lineup for you today. Do you want to know what's in store? Yeah! Well, that's a considerable relief, I can tell you. I thought you might, because, you see, this next person spent 11 years as part of Pop's biggest-selling girl band. But what's next for this Girls Aloud star? Please welcome Kimberly Walsh. You're welcome, honestly. Yes, I think there's a few fans in Kimberly. Yeah, I don't know why you can't keep your mother quieter, but there we are. And much like Kimberly, this man once ruled the charts with his Eurythmics pop partner, Annie Lennox. Now he's back with his new solo album. Please welcome Dave Stewart. Welcome, Dave. Lovely to see you. Plus, as it's Wednesday, our trio of doctors are on hand to tackle the hottest health headlines. What are we tackling today, Dr. Nita?
Today we're going to meet a man who's struggling to get a good night's sleep.
Really? Try watching this show. And it's a touchy subject in our ding-dong today. Should you split the bill on a first date? Should you? No! The ladies here saying no, they don't want to pay. One lady who says it's ungentlemanly and just bad dating etiquette not to is Made in Chelsea's Victoria Baker-Harbour. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Very welcome. Over you go. You take her out, you've got to pay. Plus, at just 11 years old, he's landed himself an amazing record deal. He's the Liverpudlian choir boy who's been dubbed the Gareth Bale of choristers. Jack Topping will be performing at the end of the show. So, Jack, tell us what you're going to be singing later?
Let It Be.
Beatles number?
Yeah.
Are you a Beatles fan?
I do like the Beatles, but my dad's a really big fan.
Ah, it's your dad, really. It was lovely to have you on the show. Thanks for coming. But first, this past year has seen a massive rise in microbreweries, which has led to a resurgence in popularity of the home brew. It may just be an attempt to save a few pennies by brewing in the spare room, but here to tell us why they're making a comeback is Hungry Sailor, or should we say Thirsty Sailor, James Strawbridge. So, home brewing, something I did out about 40 years ago, it's making a comeback.
Yep, a little bit like skinny jeans from the 70s. It's becoming very popular, and growing your own food is something which is obviously good financially and tastes great. And I think brewing your own, the guests we've got here today are going to show us how to make beer, wine and cider. Very excited about.
But you see, if you say homebrew to most of us, we'll go, oh, no, give me something that's made by somebody who knows what they're doing.
I've been there and done that. If you make it badly, it is not a particularly pleasant drink, but there are simple ways of doing it at home that basically enable you to have a very drinkable product at the end of it, and it is cheap, it's really quite delicious, and it's a hobby. It's something you can do, you know, in winter evenings.
These are the guys who know. Andy, a beer maker you are, with all these huge vats here. Secret of making a good beer?
Good sanitation is important, I think, in making beer, and use good ingredients.
Cleanliness and good ingredients.
Yep.
And your ingredients are what? Talk us through the process.
So, the ingredients, there's 4 main ingredients to beer. You've basically got water, malt, hops and yeast.
Yeah.
We've got here. So this is the roasted barley.
Yep.
The process for making beer, you want to basically extract the sugars from the malts. And you do that in the mash tun. This looks a little bit like something you take on a picnic. It's exactly what it is. So we would add our malts into our mash tun.
Right, so we got
and you put them in there with warm water to release
some
of the sugars and flavour.
So we would have water that's been heated up to typically around 65 degrees.
Yeah.
We would add that in.
Right.
That would then be left. We give it a good mash. We'd leave that for an hour.
Just an hour?
Just an hour, yeah, and that's enough to get the sugars out of the malts.
Yeah.
And then we would run that off into our kettle.
Yeah.
So this is our brew kettle.
And this is all your DIY version of what people would find in a professional brewery.
Exactly that. It's exactly the same. It's just obviously on a much smaller scale.
So it's going into
there.
What then?
Off, and then we would bring that up to the boil.
Yeah.
At that point, we would add our hops. And the hops give us the bitterness and the aroma and flavour of the beer.
I'm going to turn that off or I shall want to go. Oh, do it now. How do you turn it off?
There
Oh,
you
there
go.
we are, right.
And the hops are what gives beer its flavour, isn't it?
So they give the beer the bitterness, flavour and aroma. If you add them at different stages of the boil, you would boil for an hour.
Right.
So
So we'll do that.
let's throw some hops in.
Yeah.
We would boil and we'd add the hops throughout the process.
Yeah.
And at the end of that process, we would cool it down. We'd chill it down to around 20 degrees, a temperature that our yeast is happy with.
Right.
Into a fermenter, the fermenting bucket. And then we would add our brewer's yeast,
Yeah.
this is dried yeast. The yeast will then get to work and
Stays
turn all
in there
that.
for...
That will ferment for around a week.
Right.
And that will turn all those lovely sugars into alcohol.
And that's different than the yeast that you'd use in bread. It's sort of specially designed to help give beer its special
And
flavour.
how long, then, between starting this and actually drinking a pint of beer?
It can be as short as a week. I mean, the fermentation will be done in a week.
So, shall I taste this here?
Am I allowed to taste as well?
It looks like... Oh, there you go.
I am a thirsty sailor
So
today.
what sort of beer?
This is a very hoppy beer, a style called IPA, using some New Zealand hops.
If I got that in a pub, I'd be very happy, I have to say. I mean, that's a great... And very reasonably cheap to make, presumably.
Yeah, I spend around £15 probably on a batch and get 40 pints for that.
Cool. That was lovely.
It's delicious, right?
Next up, James.
OK, come and meet the thirsty gardeners.
Oh, three of us there. Hi, nice
This
to see
is
you.
Nick and Rich.
Nick and Rich.
Basically, I think your main motivation, it's fair to say, was not gardening, it was actually drinking. Correct. So growing
Funny
things that
you
you
should
can
say
drink.
that. I don't think you should drink. So what
So
we're talking
apples, we're talking cider.
here? No.
We are.
Is this a simpler process than brewing, which seems to be quite complex, really?
It's
Andy, with all
much
this?
simpler, Alan. Yeah, basically, all you do is need to get some juice from the apples, and
And you've got a press
there's a press down there, which,
Yeah.
which we certainly use. I mean, if you're in a small kitchen, you can even get juice from a regular old juicer. And then you're just putting it in a fermenting vessel, like a demijohn here,
Yeah.
letting nature do its work.
So that's it. You pour the juice into that, and it turns into cider.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you do need a lot of apples. It takes 9 apples for a pint of cider, so
Yeah.
you need
But loads, as if I've got a big old apple tree or whatever, loads of windfalls, you can use all those.
Absolutely,
And
yeah,
simply just juice it or strain it like that, put it in there.
Put it in there, let nature do its course.
For how long? Sorry, James.
So I was just going to say, it's actually, there's natural sort of yeasts and a
Already
bloom
in
on
the
apples
apple,
and
yeah.
sugars, which convert it into alcohol, so you don't even need to add anything to turn that into cider.
But how long? Time?
Do it now, it'll be ready in the summer, next year.
Next year? Oh, right, so it's a sort of 9-month process.
Yes,
something
absolutely,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But you can have apple juice as well, just quickly. So something to
Do
tease
you
it.
want to we've got clear and cloudy here. Is
That's
there
a
anything
cider, that's got honey in it. That's quite strong.
Oh.
The other one. Put hairs in your chest, that one, Alan.
So you do sometimes play around with the flavours
Yes,
as well?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
much
By
like...
George! You wouldn't need many of them, would you? Down the allotment? Wow. What's the cloudy one like? Is that good?
That's
luck?
nice. Would you like it sounds
Oh,
like a,
yes.
that's like a scrumpy or something.
Very
isn't it?
much so.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you could go around to your neighbours, ask if you can borrow or have some of their apples, give them a glass of cider in return.
That's how we started, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What percentage alcohol?
That's about 8%.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
No.
About twice a pint of beer.
OK, moving up in alcohol levels as well.
Dawn, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Wine.
Yeah.
Now, this is kit wine, so you don't even need to have a vineyard or a grapevine to make your own wine at home. And you can achieve a very sort of drinkable bottle. Dawn,
You
we've
see,
got
people
white
worry
wine
about wine, don't they, Dawn? Oh, we've all drunk some dodgy homemade wine in our time, haven't we, really? So,
Yes.
well, yeah.
It's very easy. In a kit, you get a bag of pure grape juice.
Yeah.
You get all the bits and pieces you need, whether it takes oak chippings, and you get your stabilizers and your clearing agents.
It's chemistry, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but on an easier level, because all you need to do is take my stopper off of there.
Yeah.
I'm going to pour my juice in.
Yeah. Allowed your funnel.
Yep.
Right.
So we're going to pour.
So this
I
is
can
just
hold
pure
this.
grape juice?
This is pure grape juice. A Chardonnay Sauvignon, this one. So we're going to put that in.
So they tell you what kind of wine you will produce from this, then, when you buy
Yeah.
it, do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I thought that
And
tap at the end was
use
going
a
to make me want
similar
to go.
process. You can use a similar process to make sort of country wines as well.
Yeah, as long as you grab your juice, and then what we're going to do is top that up with more water.
Oh, right, yeah. Right, so it's diluting the grape juice now.
Yeah,
That
because
goes in.
what the manufacturers do is they concentrate the grape juice as a preservative.
Right.
Right, so then we
Now,
have
we're
to
going to have to
dilute
speed
it.
this up a bit. I can just
Right.
talk through what else goes in now, then. So,
So then From there, I'm going to add my yeast.
Yeah.
Yep, and then I'm going to put my top on it.
And that stays like that under the cupboard under the stairs for how long?
5 to 10 days.
And it'll bubble away. All of the yeast will be very active. That's
Yep.
an airlock that
And
stops
it'll bubble
baddies
away.
getting in.
I'll tell
And
you
then
what. Go on, you carry on.
after 5 to 7 days and it's done fermenting, we're then going to put in our stabilizers and a clearing agent, and then it's going to look like this.
Right, cool.
Wow. But this one's been racked off, so you haven't got any of that sediment in
Right.
there.
So then I take it from this stage after it's completely clear, and I rack it again because I want my wine
But
crystal.
this is crystal clear. How long then between starting and drinking?
This kit, 28 days.
That's within a month. Isn't that wonderful? Lucy, is wine good for the immune system?
Well, there is some new research about a compound in red wine.
Yeah.
However, it's a bit of a U-shaped curve, so a little red wine might do you some good. To have more than a glass, it becomes rather dangerous. And the trouble with that stuff, very difficult to know just how much alcohol is in it.
Oh, yes, tell me. OK.
Well,
we'll take that as a yes, then. Cautionary yes. Thank you for bringing in some delicious drinks this afternoon, guys. It's very good of you. My thanks to Andy, Nick, Richard, Dawn, and to James. Thank you very much indeed. Give it a go, it's worth a try. Don't go anywhere though, because after the break, the Titchmarsh medical team will be helping one man who hasn't had a good night's sleep in 4 years. Maybe he should try some of this home brew, that'll sort him out. Plus, musician Dave Stewart on writing his album At Sea. Back after this short break.